Coming up on Valley News Live at 6, a big change could be coming to the metro regarding use of force standards. Plus, more than 100 new U.S. citizens are calling North Dakota home, what it means for them. And a former U.S. senator is considering a run for public office again. Valley News Live at 6 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 6.
Good evening, everyone. A much-needed change could be coming to the metro as a Minnesota judge has hit pause on the state's new law involving police use of force standards. Valley News Live was the first to tell you back in March when the new law went into effect, as it caused Fargo and West Fargo Police, as well as the Cass County Sheriff's Office, to suspend all operations across the Red River out of safety and legal concerns. But as Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley found out today, the pause could bring the area partnership back together.
It's been a long 6 months fighting Minnesota's new use of force law for officers on both sides of the river.
Kind of a bit of relief, even though I know it's a temporary injunction. I still think it was at least a step in the right direction.
This week's injunction puts a 60-day hold on the new law, meaning Minnesota's deadly force policies revert to how they were before.
Having this temporary injunction for us as well is going to hopefully be able to get our partnerships with our North Dakota side to be able to start up again.
Since the change in early 2021, there's been 18 less SWAT team members, 5 less on the bomb squad, and 4 fewer members on the Metro Street Crimes Unit responding to incidents on the Minnesota side of the Metro.
You know, that was a huge loss for us, and it made us feel a little vulnerable.
The law change brought safety concerns for both the public and officers, as it created a 3-step process officers had to consider before using any kind of force, all while in the middle of intense and many times life or death situations.
That's very difficult. We're being asked to make split-second decisions that lawyers are getting years to be able to try and review.
You know, if this was the other way around, I wouldn't have wanted my officers going into North Dakota either.
Chief Monroe says while he understands the public wants some type of police reform and that legislators had to do something, he says their swift actions left unintended but concerning consequences for border cities across the state. In Moorhead, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
And police chiefs from Moorhead, West Fargo, and Fargo, as well as both the Clay and Cass County sheriffs, are expected to meet tomorrow on how to move forward with temporary law change and the possibility of bringing mutual aid back. A man connected to the shooting in Moorhead on Friday night has been arrested. 26-year-old Idris Haji Mohammed of Rochester, Minnesota, is in custody for the shooting death of Abdi Abdi. Haji Mohammed was taken into custody without incident in Rochester. He is currently being held on felony second-degree murder charges, awaiting extradition to Clay County. As the investigation continues, police tell us the relationship between Abdi and Haji Mohammed is unknown. However, they do believe this was not a random act of violence. Fire restrictions are being lifted in 14 Minnesota counties, including Beltrami, Becker, and Otter Tail. The DNR says the moves are in response to favorable weather conditions, and the changes go into effect tomorrow. Speaking of weather, it's been a pretty nice day in the valley, but there is a chance that we're going to see some temperatures dropping this evening. Let's get the very latest from our chief meteorologist, Hutch Johnson. Hutch?
Mike, thanks, and good evening, everyone. As we are in that time of year when our temperatures can be quite volatile, and with dry air in place, it even becomes more so. As we take a look at that sun getting ready to set in the Grand Forks area from our home of economy view, here is a look at what we are seeing on the satellite and radar. Most of the cloud cover and shower activity off to the east, a few sprinkles showing up north of the border, but for most of us, all we have are some fair weather cumulus clouds drifting through our skies. Temperatures across the region are near 70 for almost all of our areas. It's near 80 for those folks out there at the Corn Palace near Mitchell, South Dakota. Here's a look at your planner. For tonight, the wind should subside a little bit as gusts have exceeded 20 miles per hour. Those north winds keeping us cooler, and that dry air will cool fast once the sun sets. So if you have outdoor activities, maybe you want to do that before things get too late. Grand Forks, by bedtime tonight, we're going to be seeing temperatures close to 50 degrees as well. Of hour-by-hour details on how low we go, Mike Morkin, and we're watching for a chance of rain the next 2 days. I'll have details on that as well.
As long as there's no mention about that 4-letter word that begins with S.
Oh, I can't do that.
All right, we'll talk later.
You bet.
159 immigrants from 43 countries across the world are calling North Dakota home tonight after what a judge called a demonstration of the American dream. They all took the oath of allegiance to the United States, becoming naturalized U.S. citizens, a day for some years in the making. A woman from Zimbabwe says that it's taken her 8 years to get her citizenship.
I'm so happy. Today I became an American citizen. I'm just so excited.
The immigrants are spread across the state in cities like Fargo, Grand Forks, Bismarck, and Wahpeton. Former Minnesota U.S. Senator Al Franken is considering a run for public office again. Franken said in an interview on Monday that he has a PAC and he's keeping his options open. He noted that there have been 9 public apologies from colleagues who believe he was pushed out too abruptly at the height of the #MeToo movement. One of those apologies from former North Dakota U.S. Senator Heidi Heitkamp. Franken resigned from the Senate in January of 2018. 4 former Minnesota police officers are pleading not guilty to charges stemming from the George Floyd case. Derek Chauvin is accused of depriving Floyd of the right to be free from unreasonable seizure and unreasonable force by a police officer. He's already in prison serving a 22.5-year sentence for the murder of Floyd. Tu Tao and J. Alexander King are also accused of failing to intervene in the case. All 4 ex-officers are also charged with failing to give Floyd medical aid. Federal trial dates have not been set. A Sanford executive says they need more nurses at the hospital in Fargo to handle the increased COVID cases. Dr. Doug Griffin says the Fargo system has already hired 150 travel or contract nurses from other areas. Increased wages, sign-on bonuses, and other perks are being offered to attract more workers. Dr. Griffin says it's the most dire staffing situation the system has ever faced. You might consider co-signing to help a child or family member get back up. Well, later we're going to explain why you should maybe take a more thought before putting pen to paper.
And this morning, those clouds were lingering and hanging out pretty close to the ground. We call that fog in meteorology, but we did see some sunshine as the wind and warmer temperatures evaporated that fog. Your forecast does include a chance of rain. I'll have hour-by-hour details. Join me. Weather is next.